I would like to just give you a kind of an overview on what today's going to look like for the next couple hours or next hour and a half. You're all broken up by advisory, and we have different advisory locations throughout the building, so we can socially distance you appropriately. Some of you have had your pictures taken, some of you haven't. Do not be concerned about that. We will have plenty of time for an advisory group to go together to have their pictures taken. So what you're going to do is, I'm going to do a welcome here. Mrs. Hanlon's going to say a few things with Mr. Shawley, and then your school counselors are going to kind of go through what's in your packet, and then we're going to dismiss you. I'll dismiss some of you, well, definitely by advisory, but I will have some upstairs go first. I will have some report to pictures directly, and when you get to your advisory location, that is where your laptops will be. Everybody will get a laptop. You'll log in. You have to log in here in school in order for it to work when you get home. If your parents have filled out InfoSnap and they have paid the insurance for your laptop, you'll actually be able to take your laptop home today with a charger. If you have not completed that paperwork, the laptop will stay here, and we will find an alternative time for you to come and pick up your laptop. But everybody will have their laptop. They'll have their login information, and we'll get you in. We also, once you log into your email, and your email will be, your first initial last name, and it will be 24 for the last, the year, and then wyndhamsd.org. So when you log in there, I have sent you all a tech training YouTube video that Mr. Benkel put together, and we can refer to that at any time. We'll watch it today, but if you need a little refresher, that will be available. We are taping today, like I said earlier, we're taping today's session with me, with Mrs. Hanlon, our school counselors, and then we'll include the tech training. So if any of your friends were unable to make it today, you want to refer to something in the future, we will send that link out, and everybody will have access to this information. So we're really excited about that. Anybody have any questions from what I've gone over so far? Okay, then I will have Mrs. Hanlon come on up. Oh, she's going to walk around with it. Okay. Are they going to be able to tape you?
I don't know. I hope so. Can you see me? Okay. Hi, everybody. How are you? Thank you. Can I get a woohoo because you're coming to Wyndham High as freshmen? Woohoo! I can't hear you. Your masks. All right. So I know it's been a long road since March. Are you guys all happy to be back? Give me a thumbs up. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. All right. So this year is going to look a little different for you, but I don't see that as a bad thing. I see that as a good thing, right? You guys are part of history. You can make this year whatever you want. Have you ever thought about it that way? Kind of cool to think about it that way, isn't it? Okay? All right. So today you guys are going to get a lot of information in a short amount of time. So we're expecting that you're going to leave here and you're going to have a ton of questions when you go home. You can email any one of us. You can email your guidance counselors, you can email myself, or you can email Mr. Shawley. Okay? Does everybody know how to get in touch with anybody here at Wyndham High? How? Yep. So it's the person's first initial, last name, at wyndhamsd.org. Right? Okay. Here, catch. Oh, sorry. This is why I'm not an athlete. Okay, so the first thing I thought I'd start with, instead of telling you what is expected from you at Wyndham High and what we are not going to put up with, we want to give you a voice first, okay? Because I know that you have thought about this long and hard. It's been a long time since you've been in school. So tell us, what do you know about Wyndham High? We do have a little bit of treats for you, too, if you answer these questions. What do you know about Wyndham already? You guys have to know something about Wyndham High. Any brothers or sisters here? You can talk louder because I can't hear you through the mask. It is a school, okay? What else do you know about Wyndham High? What about our clubs, our sports, our classes, our teachers? Anybody? So we're starting all fresh with you guys? Okay. All right. All right. Who had their hand up? Yes. There's what? There are 4 years of high school. All right, to that question, how many credits do you need to earn to graduate Wyndham High? How many? 7. No, you're close. You need 7 per year. No, close. 28? No, close. 24. 24, good job. All right, anybody else have any questions? Well, tell me what you know about Wyndham High. Over this side. You want to know something about your classes? Teachers? Advisory? Lunch? Anything? What's your question?
Is it a question or something I know?
You can do either one.
I don't. Oh, wow, really being put on the spot here. Yeah, I don't know. How's lunch gonna work?
Okay, that's a good question. So lunch works, and you guys need to know this because when you fill out your schedules, it gets a little bit convoluted. So when you look at your schedules, has anybody looked in your folders yet? Okay. If you look in your folders, you have a schedule. It's a list schedule. You also have a copy of a grid, a matrix grid. Does everybody see your list schedule? It should say your S1 and then your class. Okay. Oh, yeah, sorry. You're doing that? Oh, sorry. Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay, so everybody sees that, so keep an eye on that. So lunch will be block 3A, so whatever's in there, and your guidance counselors, when you go to your advisory room, are going to work on that with you, or in here, wherever you're going to do it. Okay. All right, can you go to the next one? Sorry, I didn't know you were doing that. Okay, so here's a question that I often get asked, and sometimes not asked at all, which can get you in a lot of trouble, right? So do we have an open campus here at Wyndham High? Do you know what an open campus is? Open campuses means you can leave anytime you want. No, good answer. We do not have an open campus, okay? You have to, once you're here, you have to stay here. Now, we do have an option. This is first ever this year. So again, you guys are making history. So you have an option. If you have a study, block 1 or block 4, you have the option of staying home or leaving school early. But you have to leave campus, okay? That's to cut down on the numbers in the building, if you have those studies that blocks, okay? Other than that, you're expected to be in your classes on time the entire day. Anybody have any questions on that? I don't want to get into the consequences, but they're listed right behind me. Okay? All right, no questions? Okay, next one. All right, so you're going to meet with your advisory in just a few minutes, and that's where you are going to stay for the next 4 years of your life here at Wyndham High. You grow as a cohort. You do fun activities. You get to chill out. You can cry to your advisor if you want to. It's your little group that you can confide in and grow with here at Wyndham High. Okay? You make advisory what you want to make it. So see that circle? That circle is when we have an emergency or we have a drill, which we often have here. We go across the parking lot. This is in the back lot. And I thought this was interesting for you to know because those little lines there, see the numbers? That's where you're going to stand. Okay? Much like middle school, you're going to go out of the building quietly and you're going to meet your advisor there because we don't travel in the classroom, right? So you'll have to meet your advisors there. So keep an eye on your teacher today and your advisor and what they look like. Okay? 40 spots. Okay? What are you laughing at? All right. Now I know nobody wants to hear this, but I also know that it's been a very long time since people have been out of school, in the structure, and sometimes, you know, that can make everybody anxious, depressed, withdrawn, hyper, however kids describe it. We've had it described in all different fashions, okay? We also know that kids and adults alike, they turn to some things that will help them self-medicate or make themselves feel better without talking to their parents or talking to their guidance counselors or their teachers, okay? We have a zero tolerance policy here at Wyndham High for vaping, okay? Anybody know what I mean by vaping? Like, what's included in that when I say that? Yes. Nicotine. Okay? How would you get nicotine in your system through vaping? Juul. Okay? We know what they look like. We know that you guys can plug a USB, right? Okay, what else? E-cigarettes. Yep, good. Anything else? Okay. Is there other forms of vaping that you know about? How about marijuana? THC? Okay. Dab pens, all that. Okay. So I just want to let you know that we're up on it, but more importantly, if you ever feel like you're doing it because you're anxious, not to say that anybody here is doing that, and I'm really hoping there's been a reduction, but we want you to know that we have systems here for you. We have processes, we have policies to help you. You don't need to turn to that stuff, okay? All right, so that being said, we do have a zero tolerance policy for that, and bathroom usage, when you do come back, there's a limit to 4 kids in the bathroom at one time. Do you guys know why that is? Thank you, social distancing. That's because the amount of sinks that we have available to you, we don't want anybody standing in line and having to wait for a sink. Okay? All right. Any questions? That was a lot of information in a little amount of time. No questions? All right, Mr. Shawley, do you have anything?
Well, it goes along with the smoking. Smokeless tobacco, smoking, vaping, all wrapped into one. So if you get caught doing those, thank you. So the tobacco use, smokeless tobacco use, that's all considered under the vaping policy. So if you have any issues, don't do it here, all right? So, two last questions. Get a young lady. Get a young lady.
Anybody else?
Right here. Perfect.
Before I turn it over to our counselors, just want to recap and I want to introduce our principal. But first, how many credits do we need for graduation? 24. Awesome. 24. Okay, that's over the next 4 years. Let me ask you another question. What is the cohort alphabetical split for students? A through L. Excellent. M through? That was an easy one. Okay. So I know I'm hearing a lot of parents ask a lot of questions. We will send out a letter that will explain everything even further. But the most important thing is we don't have an A cohort and a B cohort, meaning you only come to school on A days, you only come to school on B days, because you have A classes and B classes. So you're going to be referred to as a cohort of A through L or M through Z. You'll come in. We'll have like an AA day, so everybody gets to see your A kids. We'll have a BB, 2 days, so then everybody, all your teachers can be in person and see the kids, see your in-person classes. So don't think you're an A cohort or a B cohort. It's an A through L or an M through Z. Does that make sense? Okay. Mr. Sapina, do you want to say a quick little hi before we turn it over to the counselors? This is your principal of Windham High School, Mr. Steve Sapina.
Hi, guys. So real quick, I apologize. I was late. I was on a Zoom about reopening. But I just wanted to welcome you guys to Windham High. We're excited to have you. We've heard a lot of great things about this class from your teachers and Miss Morrow and Mr. Grattan. So again, welcome to Windham High. You're going to get a lot of information thrown at you today, the rest of the afternoon. If you have questions, please ask the questions. We know coming back is going to look a little different, so we have to kind of get some logistics squared away. But again, welcome to Windham High. Hope you had a great summer, and we're looking forward to seeing you in 2.5 weeks. Thanks.
Thank you. Now I would like to reintroduce your school counselors for the next 4 years. We have Mrs. Badley, Mr. Kashigan, Mr. Blaze, and Mrs. Dunn. They will take you through the packet that you have with you. And then we're going to hang tight, and then I'll dismiss you by advisory. If you don't know who your advisory is or your advisory teacher, I think so there was some confusion on counselor versus advisor. Your counselor is one of these people up here. And your advisor is your advisory teacher. Should be in your schedule. If it's not in your schedule, it says it at the top of your student schedule as well. And we will help you with locations after that. At the end? Yeah. And so we are going to call you over the intercom by advisory to have your photos. If you haven't had your photos taken, we'll do that by advisory. And then we're going to go around and dismiss you by advisory for you to leave for the day. Okay? I can't even tell you how excited we are to see you. It's been very lonely for the last how many months. And so we hope that you're as excited as we are to see you guys. So I will turn it over to the counselors now.
Thank you, Mrs. Lickman. I'm Miss Badley, and this is our message to you that you finally made it to high school. I wanted to change it to a TikTok, but I got voted down. That's fine. So, as everyone has already said, we are giving you a lot of information today, but just take it in stride. Don't worry. We're here to help you for the next 4 years. If you have any questions, please let us know today. We're going to be walking around the advisories, and please email us with anything that you might not be sure about that we're going to talk about today. So this is the alpha breakdown of the counselors. That's Mrs. Dunn. If you don't already know, she's A through D. I'm Miss Badley, E through K. Mr. Kashigan is L through P, and Mr. Blaze is new. He's Q through Z. Now, there are some differences where you have different counselors, because if we have older siblings, we tend to keep the families together, or other reasons, you might have a different counselor. So we wanted to put this up here just so you had a visual. I don't know if you have all seen this, but Mrs. Lickman did just speak to it. This was the... So far, this is the decision for the breakdown of the cohorts. As Mrs. Lickman said, if your last name is A through L, you will physically be here in the high school Monday, Wednesday, and Friday 1 week, and the following week you'll be here on Tuesday and Thursday. And then it's the opposite for the other cohort, M through Z. And when you're not physically here in person, what will you be doing? You'll be remote learning online when you're not here. And that's to have the building at a better capacity, safer capacity. Mrs. Dunn, I think, is going to take a turn.
Good afternoon. Can everyone take out their schedule for me right now? We discussed it's the list of classes. All right, in looking at your schedule, there are some required classes needed for graduation. The classes listed up here in this PowerPoint are for freshmen only, 9th grade. We do have some upperclassmen who are brand new to the school who are here today as well. So those 10th, 11th, and 12th graders, these classes will not be on your schedule, and we can review the classes that you have that are needed for graduation. As discussed, there's 24 credits needed to graduate from Windham High School. Within those 24 credits, there's certain criteria. We want to make sure right now, looking at your schedules, that you have the required classes. The first class up here is Cultural Foundations. This is a 2-credit class. It's made up of English and Social Studies. You may have honors, or you may have a regular CP Cultural Foundations. What you need to do is make a note if you are missing this and see your counselor throughout the day today. The second class is Integrated Science. This is also required for graduation. The third one, make sure you have a math. Everyone's math class will differ depending on the math that you took in 8th grade. And then we have PE, which is Human Performance 1, Wellness, which is your health class, as well as a writing class. Everyone should have those classes on your schedule, except there are going to be a handful of you who may be enrolled in chorus and band, as well as a foreign language. So perhaps we're pushing off one of those classes until your sophomore year in order to give you a full year study hall. So as discussed, some of you may have a foreign language. We have 3 foreign language options at the high school: Spanish, French, and Latin. Some of you may have band or choir. And then comes your elective. Computer applications or digital media, they do fulfill a requirement, which is your ICT requirement. Some of you may have an art class, for example, ceramics, photography. You chose electives to enroll in, and you also chose alternatives. What you should know is that there may be 200 students trying to get into an art class that only allows 24 students. So there's going to be some of you who did not get the electives that you chose, and therefore the computer or your guidance counselor was able to enroll you in one of the classes that fits your level, that was open up to freshmen. All right, so what I want you to do right now, looking at your schedules, there's a list. That top portion, that top list, is semester 1. So those are the classes that you're going to take from September to January. If you have a study hall on your schedule, can you check to make sure it says academic study? Up here is a sample schedule, so you can see just as it looks on your form, the first block is your semester 1, and the second one is your semester 2. So for example, your classes will change. You have your full year classes that stay the same, but those half year classes, you may have health in one semester and human performance in the second. If you have a full year study hall, you have a semester 1 study and a semester 2. What we don't want you to do is have 2 in semester 1. So that's why it's up to you guys to check. And if you don't have a study hall in your schedule and you think you need one, again, that's another reason to reach out to your guidance counselor. Michael, you're up. What? Beth, you are.
Hi. This is the bell schedule. This is also in your folder as well, right? This is always really helpful to me, and I think for all new students coming into Windham High School, because it breaks down how the day is going to go. Of course, it's going to look a little different this year, depending on when A days and B days are. But this at least gives you the time frame of how the blocks break down. So on Mondays, usually, you have every class just for a shorter period of time. And then on A days, Tuesday and Thursday, you have your A classes. And on Wednesdays, which are B days, you have your B classes. So this is a good reference to keep in mind. You could even take your schedule and write in your classes into this bell schedule so you know when you have what. So then we're going to talk about lunch. Mr. Koshigan's going to explain this so you can all find out what lunch you have.
I'm just going to jump back to the bell schedule quickly. This schedule is kind of based a little bit on last year where we had a Monday, A's and B's alternating. Now that we're doing the cohorts, it's probably what I believe is going to go is AA, BB. We're working that out, so we're not 100% sure yet. So it's not, the times are still going to be the same, but it might not be an A day on Tuesday and a B day on Wednesday. So we're getting approval on that, I believe, later tonight. So I just want to go over that. The other thing I'm going to talk about now is lunch schedules. So you have a breakdown in your folder as well, but you can see, according to this, your lunches are third block. So you're going to look at your third block class, whether it's an A or a B day. We're just going to go with A days first. And you're going to find the teacher that you have for that A class. So I know this is a little confusing, and I apologize for that right now, but I'm going to jump back here. According to this schedule, this student is going to have, can't read it, Miss Morris for Computer Applications 3A. So I would then take that name to this list, and I would try to find Miss Morris. She would be, third lunch. Okay, so she's in that third column. That means on A days, I would have third lunch. So that would be, going back to this schedule, that would be 12:27 to 11:52. 12:52. I'm not good with numbers. Okay, so I want you guys to take a minute, try to find your A lunch and your B lunch. You're going to have to use the schedule, kind of jump back and forth. For 3B, if you have Miss Pallmeyer, you jump to the B-day schedule. She would have third lunch again. If you're having trouble with that, your counselors will be moving around once you are in your advisory breakout groups, so we can help you a little bit with that. And the advisors will be able to help you with that as well. And administration. We're all here to help you if you guys have questions. All right, so we'll come back to the lunches. At least now you know how to look for them. I'm going to let Mr. Blaze talk about graduation requirements.
So now we all know that we need 24 credits to graduate. Over the next 4 years, to break it down, you need 4 English credits, half a writing credit, 3 social studies credits, 4 math credits, 3 science credits, 1 art credit, a half of an ICT credit, 1.5 credits of HP, which is gym. Wellness, you need a half a credit, and then you need 6 electives credits. So in order to graduate, you need 40 hours of community service. This is all done through Mrs. Napierkowski. She is the School to Career Coordinator, and she organizes all of this. But we recommend that you do 10 hours per year to kind of break it down, make it easy for you. You can start accumulating these hours as soon as you start school in September. So to find these opportunities, Mrs. Napierkowski will send out emails, and she'll say, oh, I have this opportunity available if you want it. Or you can email her and ask her if there's something that you're interested in and see if it works for the credits. You can also go over. I believe there's some kind of reward if you go over 40. Is there some kind of? Yeah, you still need like 400 hours to get some kind of reward, but it's a lot. And this is just, I assume, a breakdown of a form of what you're going to fill out when you do your internships. And I assume you just hand this right to Mrs. Napierkowski. If you have any questions, you can email her, okay?
All right, another couple pieces of paper that you guys have in your pamphlet. One is going to say New Hampshire State Scholars. So that is on top of the graduation requirements that Mr. Blaze discussed. We will meet with you guys later in one of your classes or in your advisory. We'll explain state scholars and graduation requirements in more detail. So that way by the end of freshman year and sophomore year, you're going to know exactly what you need to do to graduate and meet college requirements and go above and beyond. On the subject of colleges, you also have a Naviance registration sheet in there that has a specific code for you and then a specific code for your parents. So when you're at home and you guys get your laptops up and running, you're going to enter those codes so that way you can register for Naviance, which is a wealth of information about colleges and careers. You don't have to worry about doing that immediately. You can do it later on in the week. If you don't do it, at some point we will meet with you guys in your freshman cultural foundations classes usually, and we will make sure you're registered. We'll show you how to use Naviance. If you want to go ahead and jump ahead of the wagon right there, you definitely can. It's a great resource, but we will be using it over the next 4 years. Another piece of paper that you have in there, because I know you have quite a few, is the guidance questionnaire. It's just some basic information about you guys, what your hopes and expectations are for the high school, what your interests are, maybe some things that you don't like or maybe you're nervous about high school. To get a little information about you guys, we'll use these, we'll read through them, we'll meet with you in the beginning of the year to figure out who you are, what your plans are, what your goals are for high school and beyond, so that way we can help you as best as we can. You guys will fill that out in your advisory breakout rooms. Please be sure to put your counselor's name on the top of that next to your name, and then hand that to your advisor before you leave the breakout group. Okay. I believe that's it. And then Mrs. Lickman is going to break you out by advisories.
Thank you. Okay, just one quick note on Naviance. This is a great tool for you to start as a freshman because you can start building your resume. But things you do your freshman year, you can log that and it keeps it for 4 years. So then when you get to senior year, fast forward 4 years, and I know it sounds like it's so long from now, it's going to be in a blink of an eye. It's going to go so fast. I will tell you that you are very near and dear to me, the class of 2024. When you graduate, I'm graduating. So we're all going to leave school together. So please use your Naviance account for, so you'll forget. Once you get into senior year, you will forget what you did freshman year, and this is a great accountability, and just add it to your resume. So then when it comes time to fill out a Common App or an application, a college application, you will be ready.
Welcome to Windham High School, and congratulations on receiving your new MacBook Air. This will be your personal laptop for the next 4 years. It's an amazing machine, but extremely fragile, so treat it gently, and it will provide you with years of reliable service. Whether you're a new or experienced Mac user, the topics covered in this video will help you get off to a good start. Here's what we'll cover today: logging in, navigating the Mac desktop and changing system preferences, adding apps to specific classes using the SelfService portal, adding Google Chrome, which is the Windham School District browser of choice, setting up Google Drive, using Finder to manage files and customizing the actual settings, using Gmail, logging into Unified Classroom, accessing Microsoft Office apps like Word, PowerPoint, and Excel, printing at school, and getting help. We have a lot to cover, so let's get started. Our first topic is logging in. Your laptop was issued to you along with a document that includes your Windham School District username and password. You'll see here that your username consists of the first letter of your first name, your last name, and a 2-digit number corresponding to your year of graduation. If you haven't already memorized your username and password, please make a note of it somewhere safe, since you will need to sign and turn in this document. Notice your username is also the first part of your Windham School District Gmail address. When logging into your computer, use only the username and password. When accessing your Gmail account, add @windhamsd.org to your username. Key your username and password in the appropriate fields on your computer start screen and press the return or enter key to access your computer. Once you've successfully logged in, you'll be greeted with your Mac's desktop screen, which will appear empty. Along the bottom of the screen is the dock, which contains a collection of various apps. You can easily remove items from your dock in order to customize it. Remove an item, simply click and drag off the screen and it will disappear, like this. Just pull it up. You see how there's the little pop-up that says remove, let go, and it's gone. Don't worry, anything you remove can easily be recovered. To add an app, simply access the Launchpad icon from your dock. The Launchpad is this rocket. This will provide you with all the available apps currently installed on your computer. To add one of them to your dock, just drag it down and nestle it in the location of your choice. You can also change the appearance of your desktop by accessing System Preferences by either clicking the gray gear icon from your dock or by selecting the apple in the top left of your screen and choosing System Preferences. Here, the first three options, General, Desktop and Screensaver, and Dock, can provide you with some interesting options. Check them out and play around. Don't worry, everything is reversible and you can't break anything. The Dock section, in particular, has some interesting options you may want to try. You'll notice that you can change the size of your dock icons. You can choose whether or not to have them magnified as you roll over them. You can position the dock on either the left, bottom, or right of the screen. And one that I particularly like is the automatically hide and show the dock option, which by default is unchecked. If you check it, the dock will disappear and only appear once you hover your mouse down into the bottom area of your dock. Our next topic is the self-service portal, or simply referred to as SelfService. Although your laptop has been issued with a core set of applications, there are many additional apps that you may need to install for specific classes. Unlike your home computer, though, our security requirements will not allow you to install software unless it's been checked and approved by the Windham School District. The self-service portal is your one-stop shop for dozens of amazing applications that you are free to use. To access the portal, simply click this icon on your dock. If you don't currently have this icon, simply click the Launchpad option and you can find it, or you can search in this top area. If I just type in the word self, it'll come right up. Now, once it's identified itself, you can simply drag it down and place it right into your dock, and it'll be there because you're going to want to have access to this very easily. So by clicking the self-service icon, you're presented with a login screen that is looking for your regular laptop's username without including the @windhamsd.org and your regular laptop password. Once you're in, you can review all available applications by simply clicking the All option in the left sidebar. Now, if you choose to narrow down your options by category, for instance, Apple products, the subset of Apple-only products pops up. So in this particular case, we see that we could install GarageBand or iMovie or Keynote or Numbers. You're most likely going to need to download some of the books or book readers for certain classes. And you can kind of see that these categories are broken down in a pretty intuitive way. Musical Arts, for instance, has got a couple of notation programs that you would be required to use. If I wanted to, for instance, install Text Wrangler, I simply would just need to click the install button and the process begins, and after it completes, I'll have access to Text Wrangler from Launchpad. I mentioned earlier that Google Chrome is the Windham School District's browser of choice. This is because many of the core applications that you'll use every day run better and more reliably on Chrome. Now, if you don't already have Chrome available on your dock like I do, you can use Launchpad to see if it's available on your system. So if I went over and choose Launchpad, now I can easily see it right here. You could also go up to the search box and start typing in Chrome and see if you have it. Now, if it doesn't pop up, then you'll need to head over to Self-Service, and under Google products, you will see that Chrome is available, and you would simply click Install. Once the Chrome installation completes, launch the program. In the top right-hand corner, click the blue Sign In button and sign in with your WindhamSD username @windhamsd.org with the same password that you log into your computer with. Once you get in, you most likely are going to see your first initial in a green circle in the top right-hand corner. That would indicate that you're logged into Chrome under your Windham SD account, and you'll be ready to start exploring the applications that are connected to your school district account. Now, many of you that have been using Chromebooks have had a lot of experience with Google Drive, and that's great. We encourage all students to use Google Drive as your primary storage location. In the event something ever happens to your laptop, if you have all of your files organized on Google Drive, you can be up and running in minutes. If you store files exclusively on your laptop's hard drive, then you run the risk of losing them if anything ever happens to your machine. One of the WHS tech training traditions we've established over the last decade is using this training session to set up Google Drive folders for all of your upcoming classes. It's a great exercise to complete at this time of the year. Let's do it now. Now, going back into Chrome, we were logged into our Wyndham SD account, and so now if we click the grid next to our first initial, the Google Drive icon appears in the second line. If we click it, then we enter our Google Drive folder. Now, a couple things that you may or may not be aware of is there is a little grid view option up in the top right-hand corner, and it can change the way that your files and folders are presented. I particularly like the list view here, which lists all of them in a single straight line. Now, I said we were going to organize your folders for classes for this year, so let's go ahead and choose New, and we'll choose a new folder, and let's call this 2020, 2021, and that will be our primary folder. There it is, 2020, 21. I'm going to double click this now, and as you can see, my path is the My Drive portion of my Google Drive, and 2021. Now, please go ahead and create a new folder for each one of your classes. So if we were taking AP Physics, that would be one folder. And do another one, new folder for geometry. And go ahead and complete that process for all of your classes, and we will see you when you're done. Our next section is all about Finder. Learning about Finder is the first step toward finding and organizing your documents, media, folders, and other files. Finder is the first thing that you see when your Mac finishes starting up. It opens automatically and stays open as you use other apps. It includes the Finder menu bar at the top of the screen and the desktop below that. It uses windows and icons to show you the contents of your Mac, iCloud Drive, and other storage devices. It's called Finder because it helps you to find and organize your files. Now, the first thing that's handy to learn about Finder is that you can change the way that your files are displayed by selecting one of these four options at the top of the Finder window. So you can display your files as icons, as we are doing here. You can change to list view, which I find to be the most useful myself. But there are two other options as well. You can change to column view, and which is going to basically show you kind of a hierarchy of your file structure. Or you can change to display view, which is particularly useful if you are looking at images or files that have some type of a visual meaning to them. Now, the next major area of Finder that is useful for you to learn today is the Finder Preferences. If you choose Finder from the top menu and then choose Preferences, you're presented with this small little Finder Preferences box that has four categories: General, Tags, Sidebar, and Advanced. Looking at the General bar here, we're able to control what icons are actually displayed on our desktop. So if I wanted my hard disk to be displayed on my desktop, I can just check that box off and then you see it displayed here. I don't particularly find that useful, so I'm going to uncheck that. External disks, for instance, a flash drive, that might be useful for you to see. I don't particularly use very many CDs or DVDs, so I'm going to take that off. The other portion of the General tab that's useful is to control what folder is open with a new Finder window. And so here I can choose my desktop or my home directory. I'm going to leave this as my desktop for now. The next tab, we're going to skip over the Tags tab for now. The sidebar, though, is very, very useful. And you'll notice that the first area here is your favorites. Now you can control what is displayed in the favorites area of your left sidebar. So recents, for instance. You can see it toggling on and off. Recents is very, very useful to find something that you have been working on. AirDrop is something that several students use frequently, so that's nice to have. Applications is important to display. Always nice to be able to see your desktop. Documents, though, is something that we encourage you to uncheck because you really don't want to start storing stuff in your documents folder. You want to be using Google Drive as your primary area for the work that you're going to be doing. Downloads is often handy to have as a finder option to see. Movies, music, pictures, probably not to at least start. But your home directory, which most likely is not checked off, that's a nice one to have because that is going to allow you to see many of the different subfolders that are located in the home directory. From there, I think that these other locations, we're not using iCloud Drive. Hard disks are nice to see on your Finder left sidebar, so we'll leave that open. But that should be it for now. The other thing is the Advanced tab here. Now, I'd encourage you to check this Show File Name Extensions option here. That will help you start to see and learn about the different types of files that you might be working with. Show warning before changing an extension. That's something that is by default checked off. You might as well just leave that. And in general, you can pretty much leave everything as it comes through it by default. Our next topic is Gmail. Now, many of you have personal Gmail accounts, which you will be able to access through your new Mac. You have also most likely been using a Windham School District Gmail account for several years at this point. If you're new to the district, of course, you will have just been given a new account. But let's take a look at a couple of useful features that you may not have been aware of. Now, the way that we access our Gmail is by opening our Chrome browser, and from the initial Google window, assuming that we are still logged in, you can access Gmail by either clicking the grid here and choosing Gmail, or you'll notice that there is a Gmail link right in the first portion of this menu. So we will open that up, and most of you are familiar with this. But a couple things that you may find useful is that for anything that's important, you can easily just click a star here. So that's just a way of highlighting emails that you think that you may want to revisit. If you want to organize your emails by category, you'll notice at the very bottom of your left sidebar here, you have this little plus sign and create new label. Now, if you choose that, it's kind of a way of almost creating folders within Gmail. So I'm just going to call this test folder. And so now my test folder is available. Let's see, there it is, test folder. Now I can place emails directly into it. I can do it in a number of ways. I could actually drag them right into that test folder. So now if I choose test folder, you can see that that one that I've added is now displayed. The big takeaway for today, though, for Gmail is to just check it regularly. Get into a good habit of checking in. It's going to become a very important form of communication from your teachers, from the school administration, from classmates that you may be working on a group project with. It's just one of those things that if you don't establish a routine, then you can find yourself checking and missing some important and timely emails that you would have wished that you had responded to earlier. So establish that as a habit and you'll be in good shape. Our next topic is Unified Classroom, which really merits its own separate training if you are unfamiliar with it. The good news is that most of your teachers will be very, very helpful in explaining to you how they want you to use their Unified Classroom sites. The important thing for us today, though, is simply just to get you into Unified Classroom. So let's take a look at how that will work. Now, you can access Unified Classroom in one of two ways. You can type the word classroom.powerschool.com into your address bar, or from the Google grid, if you scroll down towards the bottom, There is a link here, Power School of Unified Classroom. You can simply click that. This will bring you to the Unified Classroom sign-in screen. Now, this can be a little bit confusing because there are boxes that you may be tempted to enter your username and password into. However, Unified Classroom is what we call a Google single sign-on application, which simply means as long as you're signed into Google, all you need to do is click the Sign In with Google box here, and it will automatically launch you into Unified Classroom. Now, there's two things that we want to look at here. The course selector at the top here is the way that you can actually access a particular class. Now, notice that by default, it is coming up with the 2020-2021 school year, which if I was to go back to a previous year and access one of the classes that are under my profile, and then choose the class pages option, I will immediately get right into the class pages for the course. Your teachers are going to be looking for you to access that as well. Every teacher manages their classes slightly different, so you can rely on your teacher to give you instructions as to how you need to turn in your work and access your work. Microsoft Office applications like Word, Excel, and PowerPoint are favorites for many of us. Although the equivalent Google apps, such as Google Docs, Google Sheets, and Google Slides, have become a popular alternative, chances are you may need access to Microsoft Office apps. Here are a few tips to get you up and running quickly. First, you need to check to see if Microsoft Office is already installed on your computer. The easiest way to check is to go down to your Launchpad and look at the applications. Now, as you can see here, Microsoft Word and Excel and PowerPoint are clearly visible. If Microsoft Office isn't already installed, you can get it from SelfService. Go to your dock and click the SelfService icon. Now, when SelfService opens, you could search for Microsoft Office, but it's currently listed under the productivity category. Simply click the Install button for Microsoft Office. You'll also notice a Microsoft Office update that you may need to install in the event one of your Office applications isn't performing properly. Once the installation completes, go back to Launchpad and open up Word. Once Word opens, double-click the Blank Document option. Once you have a blank document open, go to the File menu and choose Save As. You'll be presented with a dialog box. It's very important for you to save this very first document by clicking on My Mac and choose any location, your desktop, and click Save. That will ensure that Office won't continually try to find an online location to save your work. Complete the same procedure for Excel and PowerPoint as well, and you're all set to go. Printing at Windham High School couldn't be easier. Once school starts, all students will receive an ID card that will be used for printing. The printers you will use are located in the school's Media Center. Follow the print process for whatever application you are using. Choose either black or white or color printer, depending on your job. Once your request is sent, just pass your ID badge over the printer's card reader and your job will print. If you have any trouble, just report any difficulties to the Media Center front desk. Our final topic is the help desk. We all need a little help now and then, and at Windham High School, help is just a few clicks away. If you're at the school, feel free to stop by the Media Center if you have problems with your laptop. If you're working remotely, here's the process to follow. In your browser's address bar, key in sau95.org to get to the Windham School District website. Go to the Student option and choose IT Help Desk. This will bring you to the login screen. Our help desk uses Google Single Sign-On, so simply click the blue button and you'll be transported directly into the ticketing system. Go to the blue New Ticket option and just follow the step-by-step process to report your problem. So let's say you're having a problem with your laptop. You would choose Devices Hardware. Now your asset tag is a label on the bottom of your laptop. Just type in that number into this box. That will bring you to the Search for an Issue option. Now let's say I'm having a problem connecting to the internet. So I would choose Connectivity. And then I'm presented with additional options, possibly Issue Not Listed. This will give me an opportunity to write an explanation as to what my problem is. When I'm done, At the bottom of the screen, click the blue Submit Ticket button, and somebody from the technology department will get back to you via email. Great job! You've now completed your new laptop training. Be sure to review any of the topics in this video again if you need clarification. My name is Mr. Benkel. Please feel free to send me an email for any software-related questions. For hardware issues, please use the help desk system. Thanks for watching, and have a great year.